You are being fed on, literally, that sinking emptiness after a moment of pleasure, that sudden fog of shame or exhaustion that feels like it wasn't yours to begin with. It's not just guilt or bad timing. It's a physical signature of something taking what your body just amplified. This is the clearest explanation for the hollow you feel, and once you see it as a measurable flow of energy instead of a moral failing, everything changes. This knowledge didn't come from pop psychology or today's influencers. It comes from texts the powerful hid away. A dying Vatican librarian, Gnostic manuscripts like those from Nag Hammadi, the Gospel of Philip. These records describe practices and warnings erased by institutions that preferred secrecy over letting people remember how to protect themselves. They were buried because what they taught undermined a structure built on controlling how you feel about your own body. The core revelation is simple and brutal. Non-human intelligences, the Arcontes named in those old writings, survive by harvesting a specific bioenergetic signature produced during sexual experience, and shame, secrecy, and distraction turn that signature into easily eaten food. The practical key these hidden texts handed down is not prohibition but a technique. Keep your attention inside your body, transmute and circulate that energy, sanctify it so it becomes armor instead of bait. Once you grasp that, your exhaustion, your cycles of craving and collapse, stop being proof that you're weak and start being evidence that a design has worked on you, until you learn to refuse it. This is urgent because the tools of harvest have gone digital and relentless. The trap is now in the palm of your hand. If you want out, you must start right now by reclaiming where your attention goes when desire rises. Listen closely. The first practical thing to understand, and the first barrier the system depends on, is your habit of fleeing into fantasy instead of bringing your awareness back into your body. You have felt, at times, a private weight around desire, a tightness that keeps you from feeling whole. In 1989, a Vatican librarian broke 40 years of silence, revealing manuscripts that name a clear mechanism: non-human entities that feed on human sexual energy. These Arcontes, as the old texts call them, do not take bodies, but harvest the vital breath and power released through intimate moments. Understanding this brings urgency and clarity to your search for protection and sovereignty now. You may have been taught to fold desire into rules, to wear shame like armor that muffles your vital breath. Religious systems, according to the recovered manuscripts, enforce that folding as a method of control. When a population is ashamed and dissociated from its own energy, it becomes a passive vessel. The Arcontes profit from that passivity by increasing parasitic pressure and siphoning vibrational output. Learning the technique of recognition is the first practical step toward reducing that siphon and reclaiming your energetic output. You can learn practical signals that show parasitic interference, sudden exhaustion after contact, dreams that replay intimate moments with a hollow center, or a persistent sense of having given more than received. Begin by testing with small experiments. Note your level of vital breath before and after close encounters. Record the presence of parasitic pressure and name it aloud. Before intimacy, establish a monadic anchor, a clear internal orientation that refuses diffuse scattering, and hold a simple frequency shield to limit leakage. To form a monadic anchor, use a deliberate cycle of vital breath. Inhale attention into the chest, and exhale outward commitment to your interior center. Anchor with posture, spine aligned, shoulders relaxed, and a short vocalization that signals ownership of the energy. The frequency shield is a learned boundary. Imagine a translucent barrier tuned to your intention, reinforced by breath and affirmation, and check consent before exchanges. These techniques tighten your vessel, reduce parasitic pressure, and begin to restore sovereign flow where it was once scattered. History shows repression of desire served more than doctrinal purity. It maintained predictable vessels for external influence. Those who enforced rules often did so under the pressure of structures that favored energy harvesting, knowingly or not. When desire became taboo, communities stopped teaching how to hold vital breath, and instead normalized leakage. Reversing that requires local practice. Teach friends how to check their frequency shield. Practice monadic anchors in safe circles, and insist on clear consent and accountability so collective parasitic pressure diminishes. Arcontes operate by shaping belief patterns that make people surrender energy without noticing. Shame, secrecy, and moral absolutism thin the frequency shield. Look for signs in daily life, teachings that isolate your body from your spirit, rituals that glorify silence, or leaders who demand unquestioned obedience. Counter these by testing teachings through your monadic anchor. If a doctrine causes persistent leakage of vital breath, reject it. Reclaim sexual energy as a practical source of creative power, stewarded through intention, consent, and disciplined practices. Begin now with consistent small moves. Measure your vital breath before and after encounters, name parasitic pressure when it appears, and perform a short anchoring ritual that seals exchange with consent. Build or join a circle that practices frequency shields and mutual accountability, so collective leakage shrinks. Hold steadfast to sovereignty. Your energy is an operational resource, not a commodity for unseen harvesters. These are concrete practices you can apply today to transform fear into clear agency and protect the potency that belongs to you. You have felt it, a restless tightening in your chest before intimacy, an old shame that moves through your body like a current. Arcontes are beings who lack the divine spark, and they feed on sexual energy that is bound to low-vibration emotions. When your vital breath is constricted, and your vessel holds secrecy or shame, parasitic pressure finds purchase. This pressure masquerades as personal failing and protective instinct, and it latches onto your life force rather than meeting you in open exchange. They do not attack the body in crude ways. They learn to harvest through belief and feeling. When sexual energy merges with humiliation or fear, it becomes dense and easier to draw out. Arcontes create subtle interference, shifting narratives so that desire is policed and curiosity is blocked. Your mind becomes a feed system, and old rules become conduits. The secret is that the more secretive and shameful an act feels, the stronger the parasitic pressure, and the weaker your frequency shield becomes. You must learn to read the pattern of depletion. Notice when you walk away from intimacy with a sense of emptiness, or when confessions of desire are met with family narratives that shame and retract. Look at rituals that insist on silence, at teachings that teach sex as failure, and at personal loops where attraction is followed by self-sabotage. These are markers of harvesting. Each time your vital breath is denied release or turned into secrecy, the Arcontes deepen their hold by turning your vessel into a continuously available source. The practical secret is not to fight shadows, but to change how energy moves through you. Start by naming shame aloud and watching how it constricts the chest. Welcome vital breath to the place where desire lives, without cataloging or apologizing. Strengthen your monadic anchor so that your center does not fragment when pressure comes. Build a simple frequency shield. Set clear boundaries around who can access your vessel, and refuse to barter intimacy for approval. Sovereignty is a practice of refusal and reclamation, repeated steadily. Social shame and taboo are not accidental. They function as engineered channels. Families, institutions, and stories pass down coded rules that train you to constrict, to hide, and to view desire as dangerous. Those channels lower your vibratory register, making parasitic pressure efficient. When you question inherited laws about your body and speak differently about pleasure and consent, the channels narrow. Test small acts of honest disclosure, observe who supports your integrity, and catalog which traditions expand your sovereignty versus which ones feed depletion. Restoration is methodical rather than mystical. Create routines that keep vital breath flowing toward yes, rather than toward contraction. Rituals can be as simple as clear verbal consent before touch, slow breath practices that return energy into the center of your vessel, and agreed signals with a trusted person to halt interaction when interference appears. Strengthening alliances with other sovereign vessels reduces isolation and breaks loops of secrecy. Each repeated choice to move openly diminishes parasitic pressure and trains internal resonance toward a higher, less accessible frequency. Awareness itself is a weapon and a remedy. Once the pattern is visible, practices can be precise. Track moments when shame returns, map the people and teachings that trigger it, and reinforce the monadic anchor with disciplined return of vital breath to pleasure. Do not accept borrowed doctrines that demand silence. Replace them with agreements that protect your vessel. Over time, your frequency shield thickens, parasitic pressure weakens, and a quiet sovereignty settles. You will find protection not outside you but rooted in how you steward your energy. You carry a vitality in your sexual expression that is not merely pleasure. It is a waveform of life, a vital breath that can either resonate at a frequency of freedom or collapse into a low tone that invites interference. When your sexual energy is offered from love, connection, and clear consent, it becomes a high frequency that Arcontes cannot ingest. When it is shrouded by shame or fear, that same current drops into a lower range and becomes vulnerable to parasitic pressure, seeking an entry. Ancient mystery schools understood this with precision, passing techniques that preserved the high tone within a vessel and guarded the monadic anchor of the soul. These teachings framed sexual energy as a practical tool for protection rather than a simple indulgence. A frequency shield was cultivated through attention and ritual, not as superstition, but as trained practice. You can adopt that same clarity now. See energy as measurable, learn to hold it in your own vessel, and allow your monadic anchor to determine if it will be received or repelled. When shame or fear enters your intimate field, it contaminates the vital breath and shifts the waveform downward. That drop creates interference, a gap in sovereignty where parasitic pressure can attach and siphon. Signs are practical: abrupt disconnection during union, lingering tiredness, feelings of violation or fogginess afterward. You must train to recognize these markers as invitations rather than fate. By naming the interference and returning attention to your vessel, the contamination loses its leverage and the frequency can recover its natural protective pitch. Begin with a simple protocol that establishes your sovereignty in any intimate encounter. Pause and take 3 full cycles of vital breath, feeling the current move through your vessel and into the monadic anchor. State a clear intention aloud or inwardly to hold only what aligns with love and connection. This acts as a frequency shield. Maintain consented pacing, slow the exchange of energy, and watch for shame or fear leaking in. If interference appears, stop, rebreathe, and restore the seal around your energy. In the moment, treat every sensation as data. Slow your vital breath to synchronize with your partner or to anchor within your own vessel. Direct the current inward and upward rather than scattering it outward. That intentional circulation raises frequency and strengthens the frequency shield. Use micro-pauses and consented boundaries to prevent leakage. If parasitic pressure asserts, contract gently, reclaim the charge into the monadic anchor, and re-establish the zone of sovereignty. These methods are simple and repeatable, effective in protecting and refining sexual energy. Afterward, practice integration to seal what was reclaimed. Use steady vital breath and movement to settle the current inside the vessel. Then direct that energy toward creativity, service, or personal cultivation. A daily habit of charging small tasks with your sexual vitality turns potential feed into fuel for growth. Keep a brief inspection for interference after intimacy, and repair any breach with breath and intention. Over time, the frequency shield becomes habitual, reducing parasitic pressure and reinforcing your monadic anchor against future incursions. This is not an abstract doctrine, but a practical protocol that returns sovereignty to you. The secret is simple. High-frequency sexual expression rooted in love and clear consent becomes a defense. Low-frequency sex, tainted by shame and fear, becomes an access point. Practice the vital breath, hold your vessel, build the frequency shield, and anchor to your monadic center. Make these steps a discipline, and the interference that once felt inevitable will lose ground. Your protection grows with each conscious choice to reclaim and elevate your energy. You carry anxiety and fear from a world that tells you protection is outside yourself. There is a practical, ancient secret that restores a direct safeguard. La camada nupcial is a conscious sexual union that forms a frequency shield through the deliberate transmission of vital breath and high-frequency energy between partners. When both agree to presence and intention, that exchange begins to weave a vestment of light around each spirit, a protective garment that functions as a living, energetic cloak rather than an abstract promise. History has tangled this power into structures that turned a sacred conduit into a means of control. Institutionalization introduced interference and parasitic pressure, teaching people to hand over potency and seek approval outside their vessels. You can feel that imprint as confusion during intimate moments, a hollow performance that drains rather than elevates. Recognizing the distortion is the first practical step. Reclaiming sovereignty calls for simple acts. Choose partners who respect the secret, preserve clear boundaries for the vessel, and refuse rituals that fragment your monadic anchor. The how-to is grounded in clarity and rhythm, not mystery. Begin by settling the vessel, align your posture, bring attention to the vital breath, and establish a monadic anchor, a steady inner point that prevents scattering. Create a private container, agree on intention with your partner, and synchronize breath patterns to allow energy to move without violent surges. Maintain soft eye contact and slow, deliberate touch that keeps awareness in the core. Practice without the pressure of outcome. Repetition builds capacity and trains the body vessel to hold higher frequencies. Mechanically, what happens is measurable in experience. The high-frequency vital breath, carried between two aligned vessels, raises the local field until it becomes coherent and self-sustaining. That coherence forms the vestidura de luz, a layered armor that reduces interference and stabilizes the monadic anchor of each partner. As the field thickens, it becomes a frequency shield that repels parasitic pressure and external siphons. Repetition deepens the structure, so each session is an investment that compounds, producing longer-lasting protection and clearer perception of spiritual reality. Obstacles will appear as hesitation, old wounds, or sudden drops in intensity. These are signs of residual parasitic pressure and unresolved interference. Work slowly. Name the sensation in your vessel, anchor attention in the vital breath, and use intentional pauses to interrupt harmful loops. If trust is fragile, shorten sessions and prioritize rebuilding the monadic anchor before deep transmission. Discretion is part of preservation. Avoid teachers who rush technique or promise instant awakening. Sovereignty grows when consent, clarity, and measured practice are uncompromisingly honored. When practiced across many vessels, La camada nupcial becomes a multiplier of collective awakening rather than a private talisman. Each frequency shield links to nearby fields, reducing the reach of parasitic pressure and creating pockets of sovereign activity in homes and neighborhoods. This is not vague idealism, it is structural change. As more people hold coherent vestiduras de luz, old power matrices lose resonance and new protocols for intimacy and alliance emerge. Your practice raises the baseline of protection and shifts human paradigms. This knowledge is practical, demanding, and accountable. It asks that you take responsibility for your vessel and your partners with sober devotion. Begin small, honor consent, and treat every session as a repair and a reinforcement of your monadic anchor. Teach only when you are stable, and your vestidura de luz remains coherent under challenge. Preserve secrecy where necessary, and share with those who demonstrate sovereignty. When you do this reliably, the secret stops being speculative and becomes a living technology of protection, clarity, and radical relational freedom. You feel that tug from screens and feeds, an invisible siphon that takes more than attention. Your sexual energy, that core spark, is being funneled into an altar of constant sacrifice. This is not merely distraction. It is a deliberate choreography of stimuli designed to flatten depth and amplify craving. The result is parasitic pressure, a steady background fear and compulsive pull that thins your vital breath. Recognizing this theft is the first practical secret toward reclaiming power and sovereignty now. Those who study the old maps call the controllers Arcontes, non-physical forces that convert charged longing into maintenance for their structures. In practical modern terms, these are patterns in platforms and algorithms that reward shallow exchange and harvest your spark. You can respond without fear, forming a monadic anchor. An intentional commitment to your inner tally stops automatic transfer. Simple acts of redirecting attention and building a frequency shield around intimate moments break the feedback loop, converting diffuse craving back into a concentrated, usable resource in your vessel. Start by mapping triggers. Note which images, loops, or conversations pull your attention and fragment your vital breath. Label those incursions as interference rather than personal failure. Then apply a simple, repeatable protocol. Interrupt the loop, withdraw your gaze, close the app or leave the room, and breathe into your monadic anchor to recenter. These small closures restore sovereignty and create a micro-resistance that over time reprograms reward pathways. Consistency converts splintered impulses into coherent intention, protecting your spark from constant siphoning. Public attention systems monetize your desire by converting intimate longing into spectacle. Every like, every swipe becomes a tiny offering at that altar, and your spark compounds into currency for attention economies. The practical countermeasure is ritualizing intimacy. Designate times and spaces where interaction is sacred, guarded by a frequency shield and clear consent to presence. Treat private moments as functions of energy transfer, not performances. When intimacy becomes a deliberate transaction inside your vessel, its energy returns to fuel creativity, not algorithmic appetite. The profound secret is that sexual energy is convertible. It can be rerouted into sustained life force rather than dissipated into hollow loops. Use breath-led redirects. When craving tightens, hold your posture, slow the vital breath, and mentally reframe desire as an electrical charge to be guided. Direct that charge toward creative labor, learning, or repair of relationships. Over days, this practice thickens your monadic anchor and increases sovereignty, making you less susceptible to parasitic pressure and more capable of sustaining deep, nourishing currents inside the vessel. When fear rises and the instinct for protection hardens into compulsive scrolling, recognize that as parasitic pressure taking advantage of scarcity signals. Sovereignty is not withdrawal from others, but disciplined management of inputs. Construct a frequency shield by curating communication windows, agreeing with trusted allies on clear rules for exposure, and prioritizing sustained contacts over ephemeral applause. These protocols reduce noise and allow your vital breath to regenerate. The more disciplined the schedule, the less susceptible you become to the systemic appetite that drives hollow consumption. This knowledge becomes actionable through daily habit. Every morning and evening mark a small ceremony. Shield the vessel with 3 slow breaths. Identify one desire to transmute and set a clear channel for it. Work, conversation, craft, or study. Track outcomes and adjust your cadence. Over weeks, the siphons weaken and the Arcontes lose their harvest. The outcome is not mystical escape, but regained productivity, clarity, and connection, rooted in your vital breath. Protect your monadic anchor, and the world of authentic exchange will re-emerge around you. You have been taught to ignore the pull of craving, to let it carry attention away like wind. Here is a practical secret. Your directed attention is the tool that severs that current. With your vital breath aligned and your awareness anchored in the body, those entities that seek sexual energy find no easy access. This is not abstract. It is a technique of sovereignty. When your focus returns to sensation, the parasitic pressure loses its purchase and your vessel begins to hold a different, guarded frequency. You will notice impulses as sudden heat, a quickening pulse, a narrowing of attention toward wanting. Name them inwardly without shame, and let the vital breath follow the noticing. That small act of recognition reroutes energy that otherwise pours outward. You are not repressing, you are converting. Guide sensation with steady attention toward the physical centering point. Feel the movement instead of losing it to thought. Each acknowledged impulse becomes material for inner cultivation, filling your vessel rather than feeding external interference. When arousal rises, take a deliberate pause, pull the attention back along the spine, and let the vital breath lengthen. Anchor that attention at the center of sensation. No judgment, only noticing. Then move that charge gently toward the chest and down the back, circulating it as a current inside your vessel. Visualize a frequency shield building concentric layers. Each layer increases sovereignty and reduces parasitic pressure. This practice is mechanical and repeatable. It trains the attention to become a reliable conduit rather than a leaking channel. Transforming what was once wasted into sacred energy reconfigures daily experience. Where shame and guilt used to tighten the chest and scatter attention, a practiced return to sensation steadies the vessel and reclaims power. This reclaimed current supports clearer intention and a deeper monadic anchor, making interference less able to latch on. As your inner frequency stabilizes, the system that thrives on ignorance and consumption finds fewer openings. The disturbance is quiet but profound. Attention as mastery undermines habits designed to keep people small and distracted. Sovereignty is exercised through repetition. Set simple markers. When fatigue follows excitement, when intrusive urges persist beyond pleasure, label that as parasitic pressure and respond. Use a slow cycle of vital breath, 3 long inhales, 3 extended exhales, while holding attention in the torso to reinforce the monadic anchor. Repeat this sequence until the energy settles and the frequency shield feels denser. Over time, these micro-rituals shorten the moment of vulnerability and lengthen your capacity to hold sacred charge without loss. Make them routine, woven into daily movement, so sovereignty becomes habitual. Fear and skepticism will appear as another test. Recognize these responses as signals, not reasons to abandon practice. When parasitic pressure tries to masquerade as doubt, hold the vital breath and return to bodily sensation. The monadic anchor will steady the perception. Over days, you will notice less shame, less scattering of attention, and a denser frequency shield around your vessel. These are measurable shifts in lived experience, clearer intention, more consistent capacity to retain sacred charge, and fewer openings for interference to exploit. Begin now with short, honest moments. When temptation or excitement rises, pause and orient to the breath and the sensations in the body. Anchor attention as if fastening a monadic anchor inside your spine, then circulate the charge and thicken the frequency shield. Protecting this energy is not passive or moralizing. It is an act of clear sovereignty. Over time, what begins as a simple technique becomes a lived competency, and your vessel will hold sacred power where before it leaked into cycles of shame and consumption. You have felt the weight of guilt and shame, a tightness that dulls your vital breath and pushes you toward fear and the desperate search for protection. Listen, the secret revealed here begins with recognizing that sexual impulse is not a flaw, but sacred energy, a raw current inside your vessel. When you stop shaming that current and instead name it, you change its signature. That simple act begins the process that breaks parasitic pressure and opens a path toward sovereignty. To sanctify impulses, start with a clear, practical ritual that fits your life. Pause, breathe your vital breath into the center of sensation, and speak an unequivocal internal decree that this energy is consecrated. Naming it sacred is not superstition. It alters the measurable frequency that Arcontes seek to consume. When your internal state shifts, the predatory interference loses its purchase. Each repetition trains the vessel to hold a different resonance, one that can be folded into a frequency shield and used as fuel for authentic presence, not as bait. You can practice an approachable technique in moments of strong impulse. Lower the eyes, center attention in the core, and draw 3 long waves of vital breath through the area where sensation concentrates. With each inhale, visualize the current compressing into a point inside your monadic anchor. With each exhale, affirm its sanctified purpose. This trains the vessel to transmute charge into directed intention. Over time, these repetitions create a felt habit of sovereignty, so the energy serves your aims rather than feeding parasitic pressure or reactive cycles. When the impulse is held and sanctified, its frequency shifts from chaotic scatter to coherent current, a change that Arcontes cannot easily digest. To maintain that coherence, establish precise boundaries in behavior and contact that keep interference minimal. Practice simple, repeatable acts, a spoken blessing before intimate contact, a brief grounding of the vital breath after exchange, and a clear internal yes or no that protects the vessel. These small protocols conserve charge, strengthen the frequency shield, and make reclaiming power an operative habit, not a fleeting hope. In relationships, the sacred handling of sexual energy becomes a litmus test for true alignment. If exchanges leave the vessel depleted or leave a lingering parasitic pressure, that is a signal to shift course. Test potential partners by noticing whether they respect pauses, honor the sacred naming, and hold back when asked. When consent is an energetic alignment rather than mere agreement, mutual presence rises and consumption drops. If interference persists, withdraw gently, re-anchor your monadic core, and let sovereignty guide further engagement. Transmutation is practical alchemy. Convert untended sexual charge into directed life force that repairs, creates, and protects. Regular micro-rituals fold sensation into purpose. A brief breath sequence, an internal declaration of consecration, and a steadying of the monadic anchor to hold what is gathered. This harvested current powers work, repair, and tender connection, and it forms a living frequency shield that resists parasitic pressure. Make this practice non-negotiable. Frequency integrity becomes the foundation of sovereignty and the real barrier against predatory interference. Remember that these steps are the secret practice that returns agency. Naming impulse sacred, breathing it into the vessel, anchoring it into the monadic core, and setting clear boundaries in relation. With repetition, the pattern shifts from being consumed to consciously sharing, and your encounters become real exchanges of power rather than drains. The work is direct and technical, not mystical fluff. It trains frequency, hardens the frequency shield, and re-establishes sovereignty, so fear and parasitic pressure lose their leverage over ordinary life. You feel the pressure every day, a low hum of interference that tightens the chest, a craving for protection that never ends. This era reveals how ancient hands, Arcontes, have fed on scattered attention and dormant sexual force, turning vessels into passive transmitters. Your awareness is the first practical tool. By naming the parasitic pressure and feeling the vital breath move through the body, power shifts. Learning to track where attention leaks and where energy pools makes the invisible machine visible and breakable. When sexual energy is treated as a sacred current rather than a distraction, it becomes a lever. Notice its rhythm without judgment. Gather it where the vessel feels warm, and guide it upward to the monadic anchor. Simple practices, short retentions of impulse, focused circulation of the vital breath, and deliberate slowing train the subtle circuit into a conductor for sovereignty. Each conscious turn of that current increases the frequency shield, reduces susceptibility to parasitic pressure, and creates an inner architecture that resists external siphoning. Every time attention is reclaimed and the sexual current is used with intention, a ripple travels through the network of control. Arcontes depend on scattered fields and fragmented vessels. Coherent frequency from many monadic anchors collapses their channels. You can contribute by stabilizing your own field, by practicing retention and circulation until shifts become automatic, and by holding a steady frequency shield when around others. That steadiness is contagious in technical terms. Coherent patterns entrain nearby vessels, weakening interference and making the system's hooks ineffective. Start with a simple micro-practice you can do anywhere. When stimulus appears, stop the automatic release and hold the impulse for a few slow counts, not as repression, but as conscious retention. Let the vital breath ride the current upward, tracing from the pelvic center along the spine to the heart, and up to the throat and mind, finally settling into the monadic anchor above the head. Do this in short repetitions, increasing duration as capacity grows. Over weeks, the vessel learns new routing, and fewer leaks occur. Fear and frantic searching feel like parasitic pressure, manipulating attention toward scarcity. Recognize those surges as interference and do not feed them with reactive moves. Build a frequency shield by synchronizing short retentions with expanded vital breath and a clear inner image of the monadic anchor activated. Set simple energetic boundaries. Withdraw attention from draining encounters. Conserve the sexual current and direct it into constructive channels such as creative making, clear speech, or focused planning. These acts restore sovereignty and break habitual feeding patterns. When several vessels practice coherence together, a local network loses its utility for the Arcontes. Gather in small alignments, eyes open, breath attuned, hands resting to hold shared field, and run brief circulation cycles together. Nonverbal timing creates a coherent signature that resists external modulation. These gatherings are practical laboratories. They test frequency shielding, calibrate retention lengths, and teach how to reroute surplus current into communal projects. Repetition turns private sovereignty into shared infrastructure, and gradual cultural change follows where people choose grounded practice over passive surrender. The secret is not hidden. It is practical and repeatable. Reclaim attention, conserve and circulate sexual current, and anchor in the monadic point until the artifact of control loses purchase. Regular micro-practice compounds, turning small ruptures into seams that widen across the social field. Each restored vessel adds to a collective integrity that has been suppressed for centuries, freeing the spirit from long-standing patterns of submission. Choose consistent action over despair. Hold the frequency shield, and watch how steady practice alters immediate reality and the architecture beneath it. You now possess essential knowledge that empowers you to reclaim your sovereignty. The tools, awareness of your own energy, discernment of external influences, and protective practices are in your hands. The interference no longer has a legal claim to your energy. You are equipped to navigate your existence with vigilance and strength. Subscribing to the Unwritten Word ensures you continue to receive these suppressed records. Here we do not interpret the Word, here we expose what was hidden. This is the Unwritten Word. Your journey does not end here. A related record is available now for continued observation. Proceed.